this week's episode of the Best of the West, we're headed to eastern Utah in pursuit of bison and mule deer. First, we follow Tyler Boone on his once-in-a-lifetime bison hunt. Joined by friends and family, Tyler puts his ear to the ground and Best of the West rifle to his cheek in order to fill his coveted tag. Then we follow Blaine Millburn and Jake Gardner of Trailhead Outdoors in search of mule deer bucks on opening day of muzzleloader season. As one of North America's most iconic species, free-range bison hunting is highly sought after among sportsmen and women. Despite great success with restoration efforts in the past century, the majority of bison are privately owned. Only a handful of public herds exist in the western United States that are considered to be genetically pure and free-roaming. Over the years, the Best of the West has been privileged to be a part of several bison hunts, from the rim of the Grand Canyon in northern Arizona to the snow-capped Tetons in Jackson, Wyoming. Bison hunting has its fair share of challenges as well as its rewards. Pound for pound, bison is the best table fare anyone could ask for. It can also be one of the most punishing packouts ever if you're not well equipped. 3 years ago, the Best of the West gunsmith Landon Gines had a textbook bison hunt. And if you thought he had a big smile on his face after he shot it, you should have seen it when his bison was being loaded up. As a once-in-a-lifetime tag in Tyler's home state of Utah, most applicants wait years, if not decades, for their chance to hunt bison. With so many friends and family wanting to be a part of the hunt, one must first pass initiations before riding into buffalo camp.
Hi! Say uncle! Say uncle! Idiot! Say uncle!
It was a little while ago when my dad told me I drew a buffalo tag. So it was quite a surprise there because I only had, I think, 3 points. It was quite a shock, and it was a good shock when I got the tag, and this was very exciting. So come up here, we got all our horses in, we made camp, we got in here, and we scouted around a little bit. We hung out for a day.
Having set camp in prime bison country, Tyler and the crew will settle in for the evening, knowing that tomorrow there could be a big bull just around the corner.
So we had a lot of horses in here. My brother had a cow elk tag, and so it was kind of hard for my dad to pick and choose who to go with, but he ended up going with me, and we rode down the canyon ways on our horses, and we ended up stopping in a little draw, little bull out of valley, and we glassed for a while, didn't see anything, and then I spotted some elk, so we glassed them for a minute, and right as we were about to leave, we had a good friend named Riley. He spotted a buffalo looking right at us, so we hurried, got the gun, got set up, and we were on him. We were trying to decide if he was a good bull or not. So we were ready, everything set up, and he turned broadside. We had decided it was a good bull.
Just take a nice easy squeeze, bud.
It was a little stressful for me because I squeezed it off, but he turned, he ran off like nothing happened. So started on foot, following the hill, because he ran behind a little corner, not able to see him. That was a pretty stressful walk for me because, I mean, we found a bull, we were on him, I had a good setup shot. When we walked around, we come up a little dip, and he was there. He was down right there, he's facing right towards us. So it was a lot relieving for me because I had all my family and friends there that had worked really hard to help me on this hunt. Seeing that bull, it was quite a reliever. It really was.
How cool is that, Tyler? How cool is that? Yeah. It's a lot of hair. He was just there and looking at us, wasn't he? He just
Not really concerned.
not really concerned too much. He'd have been more concerned if he knew you were shooting at him, huh?
Yeah.
Then we were able to review some footage while we kind of gave him a minute.
A lot reassuring.
Yeah. How'd you feel when you first saw the steam coming out of him after that shot?
It was, I don't know, just felt pressure was off a little bit.
So then we had to track him a while. How far did you run?
Probably 800 yards.
So he kind of went up around the corner, so we lost him. Didn't have eyes on him the whole time, but when he took off out of there, he was running pretty good. So we tracked him. Had
No
a lot
blood. No blood at all.
Yeah, very, very little blood, but we tracked him up here and bull down.
Yep.
So it's a once in a lifetime hunt.
Yep.
And how'd you get your tag?
Someone turned theirs back, and I guess I was the next one. 3 points, I think, maybe 2.
Yeah, not very many. I think we only put you in for points the first couple of years, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just because we wanted you a little more mature.
Pretty lucky to get this, really.
Pretty lucky.
Oh yeah.
Dang lucky, boy.
Pretty lucky.
Pretty amazing. Grateful, grateful. I gotta get home.
One of the cooler things about that whole thing was when they rode back to camp to get pack horses, I had 2 other brothers at camp that come with me, or come with them, and a lot of uncles, cousins, and it was a really neat experience to be able to be around that huge animal with all my uncles and cousins and brothers and my dad. He was a great help to me on this trip. It took a while for us to get the buffalo skin, but I'd say it was well worth it. We had a lot of pack horses there, so that was a lot of fun. Taking this bull out of the backcountry Utah, it's a neat experience that I think I would love to tell this story around, how leading it out, it's a huge string of horses. There's really so many horses that I'd like to tell my kids and even maybe grandkids about. It's just a neat experience all around. Brought us all a little closer, and a lot of hard work, and it was made a lot easier by all my family and friends. That really made it so much easier, and it made it the hunting trip that it was. I thank all my family for helping me, really. My dad for being here with me and skinning most of it.
Five years ago, the Best of the West first introduced our signature series muzzleloader. Field tested and proven, this isn't your grandpa's muzzleloader. The express priming design can store and feed 3 primed inserts from the magazine like a centerfire rifle. Utilizing non-sabbated bullets allows for over 1,000 foot-pounds of energy at 800 yards. Combine that with a proven 1 MOA or better accuracy guarantee, and when the smoke clears, you'll be all smiles too.
I'm Blaine Millburn, and I had the awesome opportunity to come out to eastern Utah and chase some mule deer bucks. From an eastern whitetail hunter's point of view, when you get out here in the west and you see these crazy looking mule deer, they have these big floppy ears and their antlers are just enormous compared to what we get back east. We had the muzzleloader tag, so we brought our Best of the West muzzleloader, and my buddy Sweets was able to find the time to tag along on this hunt, and he was ecstatic. This is his first time being this far west, I believe. We saw elk right up close. They're still rutting, so he was able to hear bugles for the first time, and that's just an awesome experience in and of itself, being able to share that with somebody for the first time. When it came down to the hunt, we had a couple of days to scout beforehand, and I was blown away by the sheer number of deer that we were seeing everywhere. You know, from a whitetail hunter's point of view, the first buck we laid eyes on, I'm thinking it's a giant.
We were really looking for that older age class of buck, and Blaine did great. He was able and willing to pass on several great deer to try to find that one special buck that's a little bit older. And that's what we try to do here, is hunt an age class and kill older bucks that are mature, and that lets those younger ones grow up a little bit. Here at Trailhead Outdoors, we specialize in mule deer and elk in eastern Utah. We'll guide some moose when we get the chance. That's a great time. Bears, mountain lions, anything you want. We really do a lot of mule deer on private land. They're unit-wide tags. We'll hunt them wherever we can find them. One great thing about this part of Utah is the diverse range of terrain you can hunt in. We hunt anywhere from the desert to the high peaks. In this episode, you'll see us in the sagebrush. We pass anywhere from 40 to 60 bucks a day looking for that one special buck. Our deer numbers are great. Elk numbers are doing really well. We've harvested some great bulls. We started driving around the property, and we're lucky enough to be able to hunt private property, and we really appreciate the landowners. And the deer aren't real spooky, so we were able to ease around, kind of keep our distance. We probably saw 60 bucks, and we slowly made up the list of the ones that got Blaine the most excited and got it whittled down to about 3, and we'll see what we can find here in the next day or two. Hopefully they don't move too far.
One of the bucks that we laid eyes on prior to the season was just a really big 3x4. And, you know, anytime people talk about mule deer hunting, you know, they want that 4x4 buck. But we knew when we laid eyes on this thing that he was something special, and he was just a beautiful buck with a massive frame. And we saw him the night before the opener, and we got some good footage of him. We were able to look him over good the night before and decided that that was a buck that we were really interested in.
So we woke up this morning to a little bit of weather. It was a little windy. We were worried that'd keep the deer down. When we left camp, we took our time, eased onto the piece of property we knew the buck we were after was on, and we had to glass our way through probably 50 deer until we found the buck we were after. And he was in a pretty large group. There were nearly 20 deer in the group, several bucks that looked similar to him. We made a stalk. It took us about 30 minutes to get set up, and when we all got set up, we had to move several times to make sure we were all on the buck. We had to have the camera on the buck, had to have Blaine with a clear line of sight. And they're all feeding on the hill, and this buck just happened to be the hardest one to see to the right when we first set up. So it took quite a while for us all to get there and get situated. It was a little bit windy, that helped. It covered our sound a little bit, and a little bit of our movement. Once we were all ready, we called out the yardage, 270 to Blaine.
During our whitetail hunting back east, you know, I've self-filmed a few of our hunts before, and there's not really much pressure when you're filming your own hunt behind the camera, but having the Best of the West producer out here with all these high-tech cameras over my shoulder every time I turn around, it was a bit of a new experience, and there was an added layer of pressure through that. And you know, but once you get in the zone and you know you're getting the gun lined up and you're trying to find the deer, you kind of lose track of what's going on around you. But like Jake was saying, up on that hillside, the buck we were after was in a large group of other deer. There were does and other bucks that had similar characteristics to him. But we were able to get set up. Terrence did a great job getting the camera on him. Sweets was filming too with our old camera from back home. And you know, when it came down to squeezing the trigger, I felt solid. I had a good rest. I squeezed it off, and of course, you know, with those muzzleloaders, there's smoke everywhere, and I couldn't see anything, but judging from Jake's reaction, I had a pretty good feeling that we were getting it done right there, so it was a lot of fun.
We got it done. We got it done. He didn't go the West rifles.
Nice shot, high shoulder. That's perfect.
Blaine made a great shot, and we were all pretty excited. We stood up and made sure the buck was down, got reloaded just in case, and we walked up the hill to him. And most of the time these bucks don't get bigger when you get closer. It was quite a hike, and we could see his horns above the brush, and as we got closer he got bigger and bigger. You know, Blaine was excited and thrilled, and so was I. We were able to get some great pictures for those memories, and hopefully he'll remember it for a long time.
And I was just blown away by the characteristics and just the beauty of that animal and the colors. You know, they say whitetails and muleys are similar, but these muleys are beautiful. They got that cool color to them, and their antlers are just amazing. We were fortunate enough that Jake has a lot of connections up here on this mountain that we're hunting, and one of his good buddies, Chant Caldwell, was able to spend a lot of time up here in the summer and, you know, film a lot of these bucks that we were going to be chasing when this time of year rolled around. And having that history with the deer beforehand just makes it even more special when it all comes together. And we were real happy that he was here when we actually squeezed the trigger, so he could appreciate that moment just as much as we did. And, you know, we're beyond grateful for his help up here. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say.
How many bucks did we see a day? I mean, you're going to see 40 to 60 bucks a day. You really got to weed through them. We're trying to kill an older age class buck. You see a lot of great bucks that are young. Try to keep those genetics going. Give them that extra year that they need to turn into something special. That's what we're trying to do. So, and you can kill these big tanks like this. I think he's probably 6.5. Looking at his teeth, that's what I think. He was probably never going to quite be a 4-point, but his frame speaks for itself.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it doesn't hurt my feelings one bit.
Just your big classic mule deer.
Yeah, it definitely is. We came out here a couple days early to get some scouting in, and I mean, I've never seen so many bucks in one day in my life. Everywhere we went over a ridge, there's a pile of mule deer, and we had a few pretty good target bucks in mind going into day one, and, you know, opening day hits, and this guy shows up out of nowhere, and we say, well, he's a 3x4, but he's a massive 3x4. We got to keep our eye on him, and looked at him a little bit more, and we decided, yeah, that's our buck, and put the stock on him, got set up just right. And
the more we looked at him, the more we liked him.
Yeah, we did. That's true.
We had 2 other target bucks we were after. A storm hit, and it kind of changed the deer's patterns a little bit, and this guy just showed up one time too many. We decided not to wait. And you can't pass up a great buck like this too many times.
I'm thrilled with him. What a beautiful buck. I can't believe it. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
I started hunting when I was real young. I think I shot my first deer when I was 7, and I've been hooked ever since then. It's just been an addiction that keeps growing. I can't help but wanting to get back out there year after year, and this hunt coming together has been, you know, a memory that'll last a lifetime. I'll never forget this, and being able to share this with Sweets, and, you know, it's something that doesn't happen every day, and I'm beyond blessed to get to spend the time out here and chase these beautiful animals the way that we do.
I grew up hunting. I remember getting left at home a lot of times when my dad was going hunting, and like any kid, I was pretty upset. Still remember the very first hunt he ever took me on. It was on this mountain that I'm able to guide on now, and it was not a very big buck, but I'll remember that the rest of my life. And I've always enjoyed it, and one of the most special things to me was taking people that really appreciated being able to harvest a great animal. I've been able to kind of bring that together with being able to guide and outfit hunters and custom each hunt to the way that they want to hunt. It's a great time. Obviously, just like everyone else, I can't get enough great tags. This is a way for me to be able to be on great hunts every year, make memories, and be in the outdoors. It's something I want to pass on to my kids, and it's just a great thing. Lucky to be able to do it.
Thanks for watching this episode of The Best of the West. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest long-range hunting adventures.